Awesome. That's
So-
great.
So this actually, I'm so glad you sent that this morning. I was like, oh, or yesterday, whenever it was. That was perfect.
Yeah, it was this morning. So yeah, and hopefully with all luck, we have 2 computers set up. The 2 laptops so that we can kind of give you a tour, and Jess is going to talk to you. And yeah, I'm recording it. So I'm going to turn it over to Jess in just a minute, but he can kind of tell you a little bit about his program. And we're set up, actually, we're kind of on there's a separate entrance to the school, and then they have lots of things going on besides the PAES lab, but they use the time clock software for PAES to clock in every student that comes, no matter what. And then some go to the workroom, some go to PAES. You'll kind of see how that goes. So we're going to start from the time clock. And then Jess also has a terrific school store he runs with his lab and does a lot of incentives. So he's going to talk to you about that too. So yeah, so I'm going to turn it over to Jess. I'm going to be driving the cart, and I'm going to turn this over to him to talk to you guys. Okay.
No problem.
Okay. All right.
All right, let me get on the camera here. All right, who am I talking to today?
Hi, Jess. My name is Frank Souza. I'm over here in Northern California, I guess, Central California. And we're with the San Joaquin County Office of Education. And with me, I have Mei Lee.
Hi, I'm the admin assistant for him.
Yep. And then we had a couple people that were going to be on from a school site, but they had to cancel at the last minute due to family emergency. So, and we also have one person that may or may not be getting on here pretty soon, and she's from our Work Start Yes program. So we run very similar programs in which we provide work experiences for students within our community. And what I've heard about your program so far sounds like an amazing training program before they get into that first work experience and get an on-the-job placement.
All right, yeah, that sounds great. Luckily, we're recording this, so those that aren't able to make the call, they'll be able to watch it at a later time.
Exactly.
Really nice.
Exactly.
Well, welcome to Minnesota. If you want to hear the accent.
Yeah, I did notice that. It was just a tint, just a tint. Yeah,
I like to think that I don't have one, but I'm pretty sure I probably do when I'm talking to people from other parts of the country.
Just so you know, you do.
Darn it. All right, well, my name's Jess Kline. I've been teaching for over 20 years. I've been fortunate enough to be a PAES lab instructor for the last 6 years. And the best thing for me is I feel like I have my dream job. Like I don't want to do anything else. Sorry, but I have no desire to be an administrator. I want to work with the kids in the PAES lab. I love it. And this summer I was fortunate enough to kind of be recruited by Heidi to train teachers from other schools how to run PAES labs. I did that this summer and absolutely loved that as well. So that's I can't say enough about the program. I love it, and hopefully after you see what I'll show you today, that you'll love it, and hopefully it's something that can help your district as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
So our program here is an offsite program. We have 3 students from 3 different high schools that come to our program. Our program is called CBVAT, which stands for Community-Based Vocational Assessment and Training. We're in an industrial building, so we are in the building with other businesses, which is nice because we partner with those businesses as well. Unfortunately, one of our biggest partners is closing its doors, and we're going to lose them this year. So hopefully we can find some others, or somebody will replace, or we'll move into the building and replace them. But yeah, it kind of has some nice opportunities to be offsite. Plus, it's like the students feel like they're going to work. They're not just going down the hallway to another classroom, which is nice as well.
And I don't want to interrupt you, but that's a setup we're looking to start over here at San Joaquin County, is where students would come off-site. We are all located we're right in the middle of all these warehouses, businesses, surrounded by Amazon's building a business across the street. So if our students were to come here, it sounds like it would look similar to you, where they would be coming off campus to a center, a quasi college / work site. So
yeah, it's nice where I'm in an industrial park area as well, where there's other buildings. And so we're hoping, since we're kind of losing that one opportunity, we're hoping to kind of branch out a little bit, whether it's an industrial building that maybe has a cafeteria and we have employees that are working in the kitchen in that cafeteria, or whether they're working in the warehouse or whatever we can do to get them some experience and get them out in the community.
Yeah,
is definitely our goal. Uh, when the students come over, we have 3 labs. We have our PAES lab. We have another lab that we call the production lab, and then our work lab. It's kind of like a 3-level system. I would say the higher functioning students will attend the PAES lab. Sometimes they'll start in the production lab, which is kind of our middle of the road lab. And then we have a work lab, which is for more of our DCD type students. And so sometimes they'll start in the production lab if they're showing, that they have the skills, and we'll try to move them into the PAES lab. Our students come over here, some of them usually by 11th grade they're here. Sometimes we'll have them here as 10th graders if we feel like the opportunities that they have at their school aren't meeting their needs. Then sometimes we'll start them here as 10th graders. But we always try to work from the top down. We try to service the seniors first, and the juniors, and so on. So the juniors and seniors are going to get the priority as far as the spots over here, but we do have some 10th graders. So when they come over, we try to have them here for a year or so, try to build those skills. And if they're ready, even before that year, or if they need more training, the end goal, as same with you guys, is to try to get them out in the community. So here we have 4 work coordinators. I'm here full time in the PAES lab, but then we have 3 work coordinators, 1 for each of the high schools, that are working kind of on a 3-day rotation. They're here one day. Then they spend the other day at the high school working with the students, and then they'll have a day where they're out in the community. So they take turns operating the labs here every 3 days. Any questions about that?
What you're describing is something very similar to what we have access to.
Okay.
We call them job developers, and that system you had in place, it sounds like something we would like to work our way to. Right now, they're in school and then they're in the community, but they're not with the PAES lab piece. But that's something we're looking to add. Yeah.
So we have the 4 work coordinators, which are licensed teachers here on staff, and then we also have, I think we have 8 or 9 job trainers, which would kind of be the equivalent to like a para here also.
Right. Okay.
And they're out in the community as well, working with the students day in and day out.
Gotcha.
All right, so what we'll do is we'll kind of move along here. I'm going to hold this cord so I don't trip on it, and we'll just show you. So it doesn't matter which lab they're going to, all of the students get off the bus and come through this door, and then we have them go to a computer here in the hallway.
So what am I looking at? Is this the PAES lab I'm looking at right now?
Nope, not yet. This is just the hallway where they enter. Okay. But the computer where they clock in is a program that comes with the PAES lab. So I'm going to show you that.
No, I do want to see that. Yeah.
So here we go.
Okay.
Oh. So we have a sign that says which direction the labs are up here. And then this is the computer. The students come in, they click on their name. Depending on the ability levels, we can set up a password for them. So they click on their name, enter their password, and that slides them over to the other side of the screen. And then, or they click the name and then click clock in, enter the password, slides them over to the other side. And then at the end of the shift, they'd click on their name, clock out, enter the password, and it slides it back. And you can tie this into your scoring program so that all of the hours the employees put in get transferred over to the scoring program. So when you print out your summary reports, it shows the hours that they're in attendance.
And this is a software that comes with the PAES program, correct?
Correct. Yes. Okay. Yep. Very simple to use.
Gotcha.
And easy to set up and put in employees.
And just to reiterate, because I believe I know this, it's not web-based. It's
yeah, this one is not a web-based. This is downloaded onto the hard drive. Gotcha. It doesn't take up very much space.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect.
But yeah, I guess if you had like Chromebooks or something, or iPads, it might not work.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, no, this is very doable. I mean, because do you pretty much just have that computer designated for that, or not necessarily?
Yep, this computer is just for
checking it. Gotcha.
Checking in and out for our students.
Perfect. Okay.
All right. As we move along, we're going to go to the PAES lab first, and then I'll talk about the PAES lab, the parts of the lab, and then at the end of the video, I'll go into kind of some other things that I've added to my lab, as far as like the school store and some other employee incentive programs that I have.
Sounds good.
But fire away, ask a question at any time.
No, and I like how you called it employee incentive, not student incentive, employee incentive. I like
Well,
that. Yeah.
That's the toughest thing about a PAES lab is that mind shift of going
Right.
from teacher student to employee supervisor or employee
Right.
boss, however you want to
Right.
say it.
Right.
And I catch myself all the time. I still say student on occasion when I should be saying employee, and that's just natural. But
Right.
as much as possible in like my handbook and in other areas of the lab, I try to make sure that it says employee instead of student.
Perfect.
You got to make sure I don't get too far away from the cart. I don't want to. I'm hooked to a cord.
Hey, this is technology, man. Look at this.
I'm on a leash.
Right.
So I'll have her kind of move the computer around a little bit. I'll step out of the way so you can just kind of get a glance, and then I'll talk about different areas of the lab.
So this is the PAES lab, right?
This is the PAES lab.
Okay.
There's kind of a glare there, but we'll talk about those 5 posters on the wall here in a second. So this is a desk that the job trainer that's in the PAES lab with me sits at.
Mhm.
Here you can see the different shelves with the different job boxes.
Mhm.
All right, and then we have my office, the supervisor's office.
Mhm.
It's kind of a construction part of the room, a wall full of tools, some more shelving with job boxes, construction table. The construction table comes with the lab.
Okay. Because most of the tables don't, correct?
So the one, double check, just one construction. Yeah. Yeah. So the plastic shelving units that all the job boxes are on come with it, and then the one workbench table comes with it. But there are options to add more if you want.
Okay.
And then moving on to the right here, I have a standing table with a cash register on it, and then some more shelving with job boxes, computer area, sewing machine, mail sorter. Got a couple mail sorters. I have one sit down one and one standing one. We always try to have the employees stand as much as possible.
Right.
But if there's a situation where, whether it's the student hurt their leg in FIAD class or they just have a physical disability that makes it tough for them to stand for a longer period of times, they do have some sit down areas as well. Here you can see a sit down cash register, but those are kind of like, we try not to use them as much as possible.
And that's all part of the assessment.
Yes. Yeah. It's part of your soft skill assessment is their stamina and their workability. And then this is kind of our sink and consumer service area where we do a lot of work with food, recipes, weighing, measuring food. And yeah, all this comes with the PAES lab, the microwave, the toaster oven, the skillet, hot plate, refrigerator. This is a different refrigerator that we've added, but
that comes with it. That comes with the lab, or no? Oh,
Yep.
Wow. Right.
Yep. Refrigerator, dishes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, almost everything you'll see in the video is supplied in the lab. I have some extras of some of the stuff. Like I have on that shelf there, you can see I have 2 sets of dishes.
Right.
I mean, your lab would come with 1 set,
Right.
but we had some COVID funds come our way, so I tried to double up as much as possible on materials.
Right.
Oh, she wants to show you the mats.
Okay.
At the standing areas, I try to make
Mhm.
sure that we have the what do they call it? The cushion mats, kind of to ease the stress on the feet.
Right.
Yeah, they don't come with the lab.
Okay.
So as we move over, we'll show you the 5 components of the PAES lab, the 5 areas.
Mhm.
Do you want to slide the card over there? Or is it better from this angle? Yeah, the posters are pretty glossy, so
Mhm.
might have a glare, but these posters are also on the website or the
the
areas.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 5 areas from left to right on the screen here. It says business marketing, computer technology, construction, industrial, processing, production, and consumer service. And in each component, there's about 8 to 10 job strands, and in each strand there's 6 jobs. The strands are in levels of 1 through 6. The employees start at level 1, which are kind of the easier strand or easier jobs of the strands, and then after they you kind of have a baseline reading and have them doing a lot of the level 1 jobs, then you start working down the list to 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, with each job getting more complex. As they're doing the jobs, the PAES kind of standard for it is that the employees complete the job with 100% quality before they can move on to the next level.
Gotcha.
And then that can be, and there can be assistance that helps them complete that job as well. It doesn't mean that they have to completely do it on their own. You can, if they need to, the assistance can be provided for them to go on to the next level. If they aren't able to complete it, they can try it again. I've had employees try a job 2-3 times. Sometimes you do take a break and say, hey, we've tried that one. I can see we're having a little bit of troubles with it. Let's go on to something else for a while. We can always come back to it later. And they seem to like that. And a lot of times when I have them come back later, a lot of times they're able to do the job like right away and get it correct. I don't know if it's just, whether they're having a bad day or they're just getting confused by it or by the process of the lab. Sometimes it takes the employees a couple of weeks to get used to the steps of the lab.
Right.
And they seem to be more successful once they feel comfortable with the work procedures in the lab, the steps.
Now, do you hop from, maybe I'm using the wrong word, genre to genre, or do you finish like business and marketing before you go on to computer, or how does that work?
Yeah, I try to rotate them between the different component areas.
Okay.
Sometimes employees will come in, and when they first come in we do an orientation day, I'll have them kind of pick what area they want to start in or pick a job strand, just because I want them to kind of get hooked in right away.
Right.
I don't want to just guess for them and start them on a job that they're not going to like, and all of a sudden they have a bad taste in their mouth from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, I explained to them, we're not here to do, you might love computer technology, which is great, but we're here to find out what are some other areas that might be of interest to you, or what are some areas that maybe you thought you were interested in, and then you might actually find out that you're not. I said, so we will move around from component to component.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So then, like, just a mock schedule would be, so Monday, would you be on business, Tuesday on computer, or would you do business marketing for a week, then move to computer technology?
Yeah, if you have an employee that's going to be there Monday through Friday, that's a great way to do it. Where you would schedule them in one component area on Monday, and then on Tuesday they'd come to the next one, because there's 5 components, 5 days in the week,
Right.
so that works well together to have a schedule like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, any questions about the components?
No, sounds good.
All right, so we'll move a little bit closer to the wall here, and I'll show you a couple of the little posters here. This one, let's see if I can point to it. This one here, these little ones that are underneath the component posters, those don't come with the lab, but what they are is it's just a list of jobs or careers that would be related to that construction industrial. This is the construction industrial component poster. So I just have some jobs listed that would be construction type jobs for them.
Yeah. No,
but with the lab, you'll have a couple posters that you can post in your room. One of them is the work procedure checklist for the employees when they come in. Talks about clocking in and out. They grab their work record, which is inside their folder. They get a stopwatch, and then from there, they're going to start their work. So in their work record, so I'll just grab one of these folders here. So I got a folder here, orange one. Inside their folder, there's a sheet of paper called the work record. I'm going to write a job code on there. So for example, I might write SM1, which stands for shop measurement 1. So they're going to see that code. They're going to look up at the component posters up here on the wall. they're going to find SM1 and they're going to see, okay, SM1's on the construction component poster and it's orange. And then down on the table here, I have some file card boxes. Let's see if I can show it in the camera there.
Mhm.
So this is the construction industrial job card box. And then inside the first set of cards are orange. They're going to find the SM1 card. And then this card is going to have all the materials they need for the job and the instructions. So once they have this card, then they're going to kind of explore the lab, I should say, until they figure out where what parts of the lab have what materials. And they're going to find the materials that are listed on the card. On this card, it says carpenter's ruler, SM1 pre-cut wood blocks, and SM1 worksheet. Most of the time, the materials are in the job boxes that were on the shelves that you saw when we were kind of panning the lab. But sometimes they're not. So for example, you saw the wall full of tools. So obviously those tools are not in a box. So sometimes they have to do a little bit of problem solving and find the materials on their own. What's that? Oh yeah, on the back of the card, there's 2 sets of times. These times are used for data collection to score how competitive the employee is in that area, that work area.
Mhm.
And I'll talk about some of the data we collect here in a second. But if they don't find the item they're looking for, there are 3 equipment manuals that come with the lab. One for consumer service, one for business marketing, and one for construction industrial. So if an employee doesn't know what an electric can opener is, well, here it says electric can opener, has a picture of it. So they'll come to me sometimes and they'll say, hey, Jess, can you help me find the electric can opener? And I'll ask them, I'll say, have you looked in the consumer service equipment manual? And if they say no, then I'll say, well, check there first. So instead of me helping them, they're
Right.
working on their independence and problem solving on their own, and trying to figure out what materials they need to start the job and to gather
And that
those.
manual comes with the PAES as well, correct?
Correct. Yep. So there's 3 of them for the of the other 2 areas. All the materials are in the boxes, so they don't need an equipment manual. But the consumer service, construction industrial, and what's the one I'm business marketing, those 3 have an equipment manual that comes with it. So the other poster on the wall here, and I discussed this in my orientation as well. So there's some different ways we collect data on the employees when they're here. You see my hand there? Yeah. So the first one says quality performance of scores. If they do the job completely correct, it's a score of a 1. If they have a couple errors, it's a score of a 2. And if it looks like they kind of did the job completely wrong, there's a lot of errors, then it'll be a score of a 3. And so if they get a score of a 2 or 3, we're going to have them try that job again. Sometimes right away. If sometimes I'll give them the option. I'll be like, hey, do you want to try it again right now, or do you want to try something else? Just kind of depends on the mood, I think, with the employee at the time. Also, there's work rate. We talked about the times in the back of the cards. So if they finish in a time, all the jobs are timed with a stopwatch. If they finish ahead of the smaller time on the card, they get a score of a 1. If they finish in between the 2 times on the back of that card, it's a score of a 2. And if they finish after the larger time, it's a score of a 3. And I usually tell the employees at the beginning, hey, don't worry about the time. Let's focus on quality. And if we see that there's an issue with work rate, after a while, we'll work on those skills to try to increase your time. Because sometimes when they come in, there's a little bit of anxiety and they're like, oh my gosh, I have to work this fast. So I try to ease that anxiety and tell them not to worry about the work rate at the beginning.
So then a manager is recording the score, correct?
Yep, myself or the job trainer that I have in the lab with me. Between the 2 of us, we'll record those scores at the end of their when they finish the job.
Gotcha. Okay.
The other one on here is the amount of assistance. So if they do the job completely independent on their own, they get a score of a 1. If I have to give some verbal assistance, it goes to a 2. If I have to show them part of the job, it's a demonstration and the score goes to a 3. And if I kind of have to like sit there and guide them, more of a hand over hand type assistance, then it goes to a 4. And that can change too. Sometimes if they need a little bit more assistance the next time they're doing the job, that score can change.
Now, when you're recording the score, is it done manually, or do you put this into do you do it digitally, like on a?
Well, there's 2 options for that. The PAES lab comes with scoring booklets where you enter the score by hand.
Mhm.
But there is an app option that goes on an iPad where you can take the iPad with you to the workstation where the employee's working, and you can enter it right on the iPad, and then it's automatically entered right into the scoring program that you would print your summary reports from. If you're scoring by hand, using the scoring booklets, then later on you would have to take those scores and enter into the scoring program on the computer. If you're doing it the electronic version with the app, that is an additional expense.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
an add-on
And
to
that's
the lab.
fine, but eventually it goes in. You obviously put into the database.
Yep. Yeah, and the scoring program that comes with the PAES lab is very easy to use.
Okay.
On this poster, there's another way that the employees are scored that isn't on here, or actually I should say 2. One of them is trials. We record how many trials it takes for them to complete the job with 100% quality. And the other one is their interest. They get to score themselves high, medium, or low of how well they like the job to kind of find out. And that's where you're finding out what they kind of do and don't like through this exploratory program. I always say we're here to find out what you're good at, what you're not good at, what are some jobs you like, what are some jobs you don't like, and then at the same time we're going to help you become a more independent employee. I tell them that those are our three main goals when they come into the PAES lab.
Sorry about that.
Along with the scoring, if you feel like you have some employees that are really struggling to understand the directions, struggling to perform the jobs on their own, there is an alternative way of scoring those employees with subtask scoring. And what that does is it takes the job and it breaks the scoring down into steps, and then it's more of like a pass fail. Either they can do the skill or they can't do the skill. And then it still allows you to collect some data, even though they're not maybe able to, they're probably, if they're at that level, they're probably always going to have like a 3 for a work rate, which is kind of the slower rates, but it allows you to kind of still collect some data on them and see where they're at.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Find out if they can't do the whole job, at least you can find out what are some parts of the job they can do.
And they're looking to get a certain score to move on. It's like a certain score that, okay, then once you've got that, or do you have to have it all perfect scored in order to move on?
Yeah, you want to have it. You want to be able to do the job 100% correct before you move on.
Okay.
If you're doing sub scoring, then it's a little bit different. Subtask scoring, then it's kind of just you kind of go through the job, you find out what they can and can't do, and then kind of go on to something else. But you would do all the level 1s with those employees, and then come back to level 2s.
Right. And then conceivably, some employees never make it all the way to the final level. Correct. Yeah.
I have. I'll show you a little bit later. I have out in the hallway a way that I recognize the employees that have done all 264 jobs in the PAES lab, and that's going to be based on, does the employee have good attendance? Some of my employees are scheduled 1 day a week, some are 2 days a week, some are 5 days a week. So an employee that only comes 1 or 2 days a week might have a harder time getting through all 264 jobs. But I think, how many do I have up there? I have seven right now. And that can, we'll come back to it. And that's, I would say, that's the main factors are their attendance, their ability levels, and attendance based on how often they're scheduled in the lab and how often they show up. Unfortunately, we do have students that don't show up every day.
Right.
Yeah.
That can be added to the assessment too, right? Because attendance, that would be part of it. So
Yeah, because you're along with the PAES lab, you're going to have you get a lot of tools for measuring their soft skills,
right.
and attendance and work behaviors and hygiene and things like that are all tracked on the soft skills inventory sheets that come with the lab.
Now, do all of the students that participate in it, are they all students with IEPs or that have special needs?
Yeah, yep. In our district, any student that's sent here does have an IEP.
Nice. Okay, that's what we're looking at too. Okay.
I know some of the smaller schools that I've done trainings in have looked at using the PAES lab with their middle schoolers, using it with more regular ed as kind of a life skills class, and it definitely has enough skills in the lab to help students out that way as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Along on the table here, I have the PAES lab comes with these manuals for each of the component areas. These manuals have all of the jobs inside of it, and it has the instructions of how to set up the job. So when you're scoring the job, or if you're not sure, okay, how do I know if this employee did it right or not? You have this manual, and it talks about how to set up the job, all the materials needed, and how to disassemble the job. So how to tell the employee to kind of put the job back so it's ready for the next employee when they're done. So you get them. That's kind of like your hard copy manual. You also get kind of a more mobile manual that's called a quick reference guide, and that's also one that the supervisors can bring with them to each work area to score the employee at the end of the job. All right, what should we do next? What's that? Oh yeah. Any questions on that before we move on to another part of the?
Oh no, that all looks pretty good. Yeah.
So in our program, we run 4 1-hour shifts, and that's an hour that the employee is here. It doesn't count travel time.
Okay.
When my employees come into the PAES lab, we have them wash their hands first, and then they grab their folder. When I was talking about the work procedures, but I just have them listed in divided into a 4-drawer filing cabinet here, kind of color coded, shift 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
All of our, I don't know if I have any in here. Oh, I think they're I have one on my desk, but all of our employees have name badges that they wear when they come in as well.
Okay.
So that they can get used to that skill of,
Right.
working somewhere. Because for some students, clipping something on their clothing could drive them bonkers.
Right.
So if we can find that, here, let's put me in the camera. Like, because that could be a work skill in itself, just feeling comfortable having maybe something around your neck or something clipped onto your shirt.
Correct.
All right, so is there any parts let's maybe do a close-up of some of the parts of the lab. We'll just do a little bit. We kind of went by it really quick, but we'll just do kind of a closer view. Like I said, you got the refrigerator, the dishes. Here we have, there's a scale for measuring. I have a food drawer right here that's going to have all kinds of things in it, where you got your vegetable oil, your flour, your sugar, powdered milk, because some of the jobs do include making recipes.
Right.
Whether it's making pancakes. Oh, sorry, did I close that already? Making pancakes, baked potato, hash browns, cheesecake, heating food up in a pot, popcorn.
And what do you do when all the food's made? What do you do when you make the cheesecake?
I eat it.
I knew there was a perk. I knew there was a perk to this, right?
I always, in my trainings, I always say my favorite job of all of them is FM6, where the employees make pancakes, because obviously you have to figure out the quality by eating them, and
that's the only way. There's only one way to find out.
Yeah, and I'd say 9 times out of the 10 they taste pretty good. So
right.
I feel like that's a bonus. Right. No, I let the employees eat it. We do have sometimes, if we have food that's, let's say like a loaf of bread that's expired, they can still do the job where it's the job where they use the bread as they're making like cinnamon sugar toast or Parmesan cheese toast, and we can still sometimes we still have them make the make the items. And then that's kind of good too, because when you're working in a restaurant, you don't always get to eat the food that you're making. So it's kind of nice to have them make the
Right.
food and not be able to eat it as well.
Correct, right, because most of the time you can't, right?
Yeah, you can't be like, oh, that's good.
Right.
All right, let's see. So yeah, some more. We weigh, beans and popcorn.
Mhm.
Like I said, there's a skillet, hot plate, toaster oven, microwave oven. That stuff all comes with the lab. We'll come over to the business marketing area.
Now, I don't know if this is gonna throw you off, but about how big is that room dimension wise? If you were to,
Boy, that's a good question. I would say this room is probably
without the office,
maybe 30 by 30 or 25 by 25.
okay,
It's probably, I would say it's kind of a standard, the size of like maybe a standard classroom.
gotcha, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Heidi has a sample floor plan that can kind of show you how everything would fit in a certain size room. I'm pretty fortunate where I also have a garage area that I can show you here in a second. So anytime an employee is hammering nails into a board or cutting using the saws where it's a little bit louder, I can have them in the garage area, and that doesn't disrupt the employees that are in the lab as
Okay.
much.
Nice.
I also have sound protecting earmuffs. You never know if you have an ASD student that's really sensitive to sounds. I always have those available. And if I have somebody that's going to vacuum or
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
oh, no problem.
I'm gonna let Brandy introduce herself.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, good. Hi, I'm Brandy. I'm the assistant superintendent and the SEPA director. Nice to meet you.
All right, nice to meet you. My name's Jess Kline. Just
Hi, Jess.
kind of showing everybody around my lab here. Here's Heidi.
Yep, and Brandy's gonna gather some more information to see if this is something that we can bring over here to SJCOE too. So
All right.
thank you.
So like I was saying, if I have an employee that's going to be vacuuming or hammering nails into a board, a lot of times I'll check with the other employees in the lab and just say, hey, just let you know, this employee is going to be doing this. Is that sound going to bother you? And if it is, then I have them put on, I offer them the earmuffs. So with the business marketing, some of the other jobs we have a mail sorter. There's some collating jobs where they're sorting papers or packets. There's some jobs that include using a cash box, making change, some file sorting using the file sorter boxes. Those are some of the business marketing jobs. All the computer technology jobs, obviously, are on the computer. Like I said, I have a sewing machine comes with the lab for consumer service projects. Yeah, the vacuum comes with the lab.
And the computer does not, correct?
The computer does not, correct. We usually recommend, depending, we have our lab capped at 8 students per shift, and it's recommended that about 4 computers is good for that number of students. One for that's counting the clocking computer, a supervisor computer for entering the scores in the scoring program, and then 2 student computers. And I feel if you have 8 employees in the lab, that's a good number of computers.
Yeah, and that shouldn't be an issue with us because we have laptops for the students, and then we can get some computers for that.
Okay. Yeah, so you would want 4 computers that are going to kind of be in the lab at all times.
Okay.
So student used computers wouldn't necessarily work because you have software that you download onto the computers it's kind of like a preset software for them to use.
Okay, but would a laptop be okay, like a Chromebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. As long as it's Microsoft operating system PCs. The software doesn't work with Apples or Macs.
Okay. The Chromebook.
All right, we'll come over to the tools. Got a wide range of tools: wrenches, sockets, screwdrivers, hammers, 3 different types of saws. Almost everything on this wall, I would say, comes with the lab. Actually, the only thing that doesn't would be the work gloves that I've purchased and the earmuffs. Everything else comes with the lab.
And not the board though, right? Or does the board come with the lab?
Oh, correct. Yeah, not the board. Yep.
Okay.
Some, yeah, or the hooks that go into the board. Some schools do put up pegboards like this,
Mhm.
and there are some schools that take cabinets and kind of figure out a way to mount the tools inside of like a metal two-door cabinet.
Yeah, I was shown some examples of the cabinets, which might be,
Oh, right.
for our population, maybe to lock them up might be good.
Yeah, definitely. Knock on wood here. Luckily for me, in 6 years, I've had one screwdriver go missing, and I think that was actually a staff member in the building that took it.
Right, right.
I think she said, "Can I borrow the screwdriver?" And it never came back.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't outlined mine. A lot of labs will outline with black Sharpie around
Mhm, mhm.
the tool so that the employee helps them put the tools back. And I would say you'd kind of base that with the level of student you're working with.
Right.
Like I said, mostly the students that I have are kind of high functioning autism, so they're pretty good at being able to put those tools back where they got them from. But if you're working with a little bit lower level kiddos, then it might help to outline them.
Mhm.
All right, I'll show you the garage quick. Oh, actually, let's go over here. I'll show you this too. There's a pipe assembly job that comes with the lab. Oh, let's go this way. Unfortunately, these tool cases do not come with the lab, but all of the pipe fittings. I'll kind of tip it up here. Maybe I'll take one out. Yeah. So there's a bunch of different types of pipe fittings that the employees start off with. The first couple jobs are recognizing the fittings, and then it gets into putting the fittings together. I seem to like that job. All right, we'll move on to the garage here. I don't know how many other labs you've seen that have a garage. Yeah. It is kind of nice. So out here, like I said, we'll do the jobs on this other wood table. Sorry, this room is a mess. There are other people in our program that use this room for storage. But this table here is where we'll have employees hammering nails, cutting boards, if they're doing any painting or staining. It's nice that my PAES lab is carpeted for vacuuming, but then I also have the garage for any mopping or sweeping. So I kind of have the best of both worlds there, where usually the labs have either one or the other.
Gotcha. No, it is good.
Yeah. Excuse me.
I wasn't able to hear.
Didn't hear that.
Oh, because I have the microphone.
Right,
She
right,
said
right.
it's not typical for a lab to have a garage. She said I'm pretty
Gotcha.
lucky. She thinks I'm
Gotcha,
the
right.
only one that she's seen that has the garage. I guess any questions about the
Now,
lab?
so like you said, you have about six students at a given time.
Yeah, we cap it at 8, 4 shifts a day, 8 students per shift. They don't always fill up, but usually it's between 4 to 8 per shift is what we have.
And then when you have one at each station,
yeah, there's actually more stations than there are employees,
Okay.
because some of the stations are kind of specialized. For example, the one with the computer, it'd be tough to move the computer off of that and do a different type of job there. This table here in front of us has, I don't know if you can see, there's table vices mounted onto it. So we try to kind of keep that table clear for anybody that's working on construction jobs, or they would go out in the garage.
Now,
So
does it ever get too hectic when everybody's working on different projects at the same time, or is it pretty?
I wouldn't say hectic. I would say busy. It can get busy for, usually I would say at the beginning, a supervisor is probably going to want to start off with 2 to 3, maybe even 1 until they feel comfortable with the scoring. And then after that, then you can kind of incorporate more employees, once you, I don't want to say like a seasoned vet, but once you feel more comfortable with the scoring, you can handle more employees in the lab. But I say for myself, I've been in here in times when my job trainer has been out ill or whatever, and I'm in here with 8 students, and I feel like a ping pong ball bouncing off the off the walls, just going from table to table to table.
Right.
So I'd say comfortably, I would feel comfortable with, and stress free with about 4 or
Okay.
5.
Okay.
And then after that, it starts to get a little crazy. I mean, not that you can't handle it, but
Right.
it gets a little crazy. Good question. Anything else before I kind of move
How
on to
long's
some?
the shift? Is the shift like 2 hours
We run an hour.
or 1 hour shift?
Yep. And then that doesn't count travel time. So it's 1 hour in the lab. I have had students that will stick around. Like if we have 2 shifts that are back to back, where they'll stick around for 2 shifts, and I'll just give them like a 5-10 minute break in between while the other employees are coming and going. So that I have had some employees do 2-hour blocks.
But it's usually it's like almost like a period equated to a period. So they come for an hour, they work for an hour on a given region. Then the next day they come back, work for an hour in computer technology, and you get a sample of each one 5-day work.
5-day work week.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, we are recording this tour, by the way, so you'll be able to go back and watch the.
Yeah,
parts
no,
I
that's
missed.
perfect. We do have some people that weren't able to attend,
Right, I saw
so we will. It's all recorded, so we can watch it back.
So I'll go on to a couple of the areas of the lab that I've kind of added to my lab. Actually, before I do that, Heidi, is there anything you want to add to the lab? Okay. Any other questions before we go on to some of the additional things that I've added to my lab? All right, good. All right. So over here I have what's called the I Can posters. And I'll just kind of step out of the way. I'll read them off because I don't know if you can see them or not. This is kind of our objectives that we have posted in the lab. So I just have the employees during orientation read through these, and I just have them put I can in front of each one. So it says I can have good attendance, I can communicate appropriately, I can work the best of my ability, I can have appropriate workplace relationships. On the other one, it says I can work independently, I can follow the PAES lab rules, I can be a responsible employee, I can measure my interest levels, and I can measure my finances. So with our lab, our employees do get paid $8 an hour. That is like store credit money, and I'll show you the store here in a second. So every 2 weeks they get a pay stub. I was fortunate to find a Excel file online, just doing some searching, where you can plug in the name of the employee, the hours they worked, their work rate, and then you can set percentages for state tax, federal tax, Medicare, and those sorts of things. So then it prints out a little pay stub. It shows their net and gross amount of income.
Oh, that's nice. Well, no, what was that? It was just you just searched it as an Excel.
Yeah, it's an Excel file that I found, and I can get your email and send it to you as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
From Heidi. And then, yeah. Oh yeah, is it on your Dropbox? Yeah. Yeah, Heidi can get it to you. And then once they get their pay stub, they go online, and we use a website called mykidsbank.org. And it's a free website where you can set up online banking accounts for the employees. Sorry, I just said student and employees in the like consecutive sentences there. Like I said, I forget to call them employees sometimes. The employees log on, they check their account balance to make sure, or check their deposit to make sure it matches their pay stub, because that's a good habit that we should all do. We don't all do it, but we try to create that habit where they're checking their pay stubs, making sure they're correct. And then after they see their balance in their account, then they go into the store and can buy items. I don't have any pictures up here right now, but kind of to go along with the I can statement, I have this wall. This is our employee of the month wall. It says, yes, I can. And then the 3 tags underneath it say, have good attendance, do the best work I can, be a responsible employee. And then I have kind of clothespins with the months on them. And we kind of have, each month we have a little ceremony. We take their picture, they get a certificate. I put it in like a fancy certificate folder. They get a little button that says, yes, I can. And then I get some donations from like Culver's, Arby's, McDonald's, just some food cards or coupons that I'll give them for being an employee of the month.
Nice. And then so when they get paid, paid with the money from the PAES lab, do they go to like a student store, for lack of a better word, or?
Yeah, I'll show you the store in a second. The other thing that's nice too is we'll take one of our students that comes over here, and usually somebody that has pretty good computer skills, good attendance, and we've created like a payroll position, and we'll call that our payroll specialist. And that person will go on and enter all the hours into the pay stubs, and they'll print them out, they'll cut them, and then they'll go onto the My Kids Bank and they'll enter in all the deposits. And then like once every 2 weeks, they'll take a clipboard that we have in the store, and they'll go on and enter all the withdrawals, so that the money gets withdrawn from the student's account as well.
I like that.
All right. This might be kind of tough to see because we don't have a great angle, but up here it says the Wall of Fame. I have green ribbons and red ribbons. The green ones are for employees that are here, which I call part-time, 1, 2, or 3 days a week. And then I have the red ones are for full-time, which I consider 4 or 5 days a week. Back in the lab, you saw the 5 posters with the of the job, or the 5 different component areas of yeah, I'm just gonna get rid of this little drop down. Okay. There was those 5 component areas on the posters, and then each component area had the different job strands. What we do is every time they complete a job strand of 1 through 6, we take a paper clip and we clip the job that they did. So for example, if they did pipe assembly 1 through 6, we clip that up here, and then I give them a certificate that has their name, says the job area they completed, the month. I sign it, my job trainer signs it. And sometimes employees will say to me, well, what should I do with the certificate? I'm like, well, you got a couple options. You could take it home and just put it on the refrigerator and, show it to mom, or you could put it in like a plastic sleeve in a 3-ring binder. And I always give them the example of, let's say you go to apply for a job at a restaurant, and there's another person that's also applying, and the person doing the interview says to the first person, what are some skills or experiences you have in the kitchen? And the first person might say, well, I really don't have much, but other than maybe helping out around the house. And then I tell my employee, when they get to you and you do the interview, they might ask you the same question, and you might say, well, not a lot. I've helped out around the house, but also I was in this program at school. And then you could pull out the binder and you could say where I completed kitchen appliances, food weights, food measurement, food prep. And that might be the little bit that gets you the job over the other person. And then the other way we work that in too is, I don't know if I have any in there right now, but we'll sell 3-ring binders and those plastic sheets in the store. So if we flip around, you can kind of see, and we can kind of tip it up a little bit. There you can see it says Club 264. Like I said, there's 264 jobs in the PAES lab. I've had 7 that have completed all 264. We make a pretty big deal about this. When this happens, I'll go to the dollar store and I'll get a helium balloon that says congrats or you did it or something, and we'll do a little photo op holding the balloon, shaking hands, and I'll buy them a couple little like tool kits or something to kind of go along with working, and they get a certificate, and we kind of parade them around the program and make a big deal about it, and they're pretty proud, and I'll have big smiles on their faces. So that's good. Yeah, there would have been another one, but he moved away like halfway through his senior year. I think he would have finished for sure. Yeah, this kiddo, I just saw him yesterday at Jimmy John's.
Right on.
I said to him, hey, school's about to start. What do you think about that? He's out of school now, and he goes, he has kind of a monotone voice. And he's like, I think it's great because that means more hours for me.
Right.
All the high school kids are going back to school, and he was going to get more hours and more money. So
right.
I wanted to say, Josh, I can totally hear the excitement in your voice.
Right. Yes, we have quite a few students like that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you just got to chuckle. So it's kind of a big PAES lab sign as the students can see as they come in. The store started off as the PAES Lab store. It's now the CBVAT store. Our whole program uses it as to shop in, and really just started with me walking around the house, snagging some things that from around the house that I hadn't touched in years, or still had the tags on it, or I would snag the lotions and shampoos when I stayed at a hotel, the little free ones. And it exploded. And part of the reason it exploded was I would go onto Facebook and I would explain on Facebook, like the program I work in, the type of students that are coming to my program, and why I have a store to provide that incentive and that skill of learning to earn money and how to spend money and that sort of thing. And my friends and family flooded me with donations. And now the last couple of years, I haven't even posted on Facebook because now that we're using it program wide, some of the other people in the program have done the same thing, and we have so many donations that in that garage area that I was in, we have it's called pallet racking, but a shelf system that's full of items waiting to go into the store. So we have almost too many items at the moment, which is a good problem to have.
Right.
What was I going to say? Oh, another thing that I just found out this year, one of my coworkers was going on to Facebook Marketplace, and she was finding people who were selling items for $10 or less. And she was sending them a message saying, hey, if you don't sell this item and are thinking of either throwing away or donating it, would you consider donating it to this program I work at, and kind of explain the program. And she said people loved that idea, and they were more willing to donate it to her versus taking it to Goodwill, where it's going to be sold and the company makes money. And she had people dropping off, garbage bags full of stuff on her doorstep.
Right on.
So we'll go in here, take a look. We are fortunate to have a room that is just a store. I actually tried to get my administrator to knock down the wall to the room next door. I don't know which way you want to go with it to try to make the store bigger. Let's go this way first. All right. So every year we have during the year we have a little sale. Right now we have a fall sale, and it's a lot of back to school items. Yeah, so it's folders, school supplies.
Right.
We always have a snack shelf, which is probably unfortunately the most popular part of the store. So I do limit them to 2 items per paycheck. Otherwise, I have some students that would spend the whole paycheck on Doritos.
Right.
We have a board here with necklaces, jewelry, stuffed animals. Even though some of our employees are juniors and seniors, some of the ASD students really love the stuffed animals for the sensory. Board games, puzzles, the kind of the little like Legos and construction kits are pretty popular. Fidgets, more puzzles. And then we're here, we have some clothing, hats, purses, t-shirts. This shelf, I got a thing of scarves hanging back there. The shelf here is kind of home decor. Let's see, can you turn a little bit to your right, Heidi? Yeah, right there. This shelf here is home decor items, kind of personal care items. The girls really love like the smelly body washes and lotions and bath bombs. Some of the guys have come in here and have purchased perfumes for their girlfriends, which is kind of neat. Some cell phone items, cases, pop sockets, movies, magazines, and then just some more books, school supplies. Here, I guess on this wall here, we have a whole wall full of backpacks and purses. Probably my favorite part of the store is, I would say, probably between like 60 to 70% of the time when they come in here, they're buying items for other people for gifts, which is my favorite part. Around Mother's Day, it's really candles are super popular. They love giving their moms candles for birthday and Mother's Day, things like that. So yeah, they know what they have in their account when they come in here, and then we have a clipboard that we just write down how much they purchased, and then it gets deducted out of their account.
And do they do it? Is it more like an ATM account? Is it ran more like that, or more is it like fake cash, or how does it?
So I used to do like deposit slips where they'd get their bank stub, and they'd fill out a deposit slip, and they'd come into the store. If they bought $25 worth of stuff, they would fill out a check. And it was, I mean, it's nice to know that skill, but it's a skill that really isn't used anymore. Our checks are direct deposited nowadays.
Right.
We tend to use check cards more than checks. We don't have a way to use, to do a check card system here. Plus yeah, Heidi does have a program that she's the rep for that does a lot of that with kind of the online finances, job applications, lease applications, how to apply for housing application, insurance, things like that, called Replicated Reality. We don't have that here. The other thing was with the filling out the deposit slips and the checks, it just took too much time. It dipped into the work time too much.
Right.
But they come here every other week. They come on payday, so they're shopping once every 2 weeks.
Right. And they have their running account. They can save the money if they choose to. Yeah.
Yep. Last year I had a kid that didn't spend a dime the whole year.
Right.
And I think we got to like March. I'm like, hey, are you going to spend that money? And he's like, no, I just don't see anything I want. And I'm like, well, what are you thinking you might want? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, my mom likes eagles. Well, then I started finding some eagle stuff. And so I'd put it in here right before payday for him so that nobody else bought it. And then I'd go into the PAES lab, and usually he wouldn't even come in and look in the PAES or in the store. He would just say, no, I'm just going to skip it. And I'd say, hey, Tayshawn, I think I saw an eagle item in the store. And I said, do you want to take a look? And he's like, yeah. So every time he bought the eagle item. so he did.
You got to know your customers.
Yeah. So I think he bought three eagle things for his mom. I think one was a wind chime, and then a couple little statues.
Right.
So any questions about the store?
No.
So, yeah, for the right amount, you could probably hire me to come out and run your lab. No, just kidding.
You want to come to California?
I think to visit. I don't know if I want to live out there, but I'd definitely come to visit.
It's about 100 and what today? 10?
111.
111 today. We're in a heat wave right now.
Yeah, we got a warm one today too. I think we're at 90 today.
90? Oh, that's what you're talking about.
That's a cooling trend for us right now.
That's when you turn your air conditioner off, right?
Exactly.
We hit the hottest day ever in the Central Valley this week, ever. Not
what
just
was
for the day. It was 117.
I think it was.
Oh my gosh. I'd be like just melting away.
Yeah, that's
That's the way it was.
Yeah, because I don't know if you know, they're in Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin. Okay.
Minnesota.
Or Minnesota.
Oh,
I'm
Minnesota.
sorry. I apologize.
Same accent as Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you don't have any more questions for me, I'll hand it back over to Heidi and she can finish the call. And
but
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
You gave us a lot of good ideas, and we have a lot of similarities in the students that we serve and what we're trying to accomplish over here. So
all right, well, good luck to you. Hope you have an amazing school year, and
You too.
maybe our paths will cross in the future.
Yes, definitely.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And you probably don't have to talk too much to me, but I'll just, I hope you enjoyed the tour, and
Hey.
go ahead,
That
Frank.
worked out really well for a virtual one. This is the first time you did it, right?
It is the first time, and I am going to put this on YouTube because people are going to love having this. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many people I send over to Jess's lab, and there's, a lot of them that I send people to, but I'm really thrilled that this worked out and that I was able to show you all the way from Minnesota to California, PAES
Yeah,
lab. It's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
darn cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it
No,
is. It is.
So
Well,
I'll
thank
make
you so much.
yeah, you're welcome. And I'll make sure I get it. I'm going to try to get it off Zoom and onto YouTube or something if I can. But either way, I'll send you guys a link because it can stay on my Zoom account for a while. But
Yeah. Get us the link. Yeah. Because we have a couple other people that, like I said, couldn't come that I need to show.
excellent. Well, you know how to get a hold of me,
Yes.
Frank. You know how to get a hold of me. Yeah. So I'll just, I guess, if you have any questions for me before I sign off.
No. Like I do. Like I have all the quotes and everything else that you sent. So I do have all that. I'll send that, Brandy's way. I did send her the information, let her see the website, so she's able to check the website out.
Okay, good. All right.
Action,
Well,
yes.
we'll just be in touch. But yeah, if it gets to a point too, you know, like I said, I can design your floor plan for you. I do that kind of as a courtesy if you want me to. So
Yeah.
we'll just work together on all that if you guys decide to purchase.
No, sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, all right.
Take
Take
care.
Bye-bye.
care. Okay, bye-bye.
So